Hey guys, welcome to another exciting episode of Twisted Cup matches. In this case, we have the Echelon finals. And this is actually the finals of the finals, so that will be extra special. Tonight we're going to be seeing Immor versus Win versus Life versus... I'm so bad with names, I'm sorry. But basically, we're going to be seeing the top 4 of the Echelon finals. And I'm just going to take you in the game now so that we can see who exactly it is. Because I had it all in my head right before I started talking, and then it was like gone. So that generally doesn't help. Hapki, that's the final one. But yeah, let's take away the preview so they can actually see what I'm seeing in the game. And yeah, we have Life and Hapki and Win and Immor as part of the final stage. And tonight we're going to start with Immor versus Life. Rolling Swarm is going to be streaming Win versus Hapki. And after that anything can happen basically, because then we move into the brackets. And from Immor and Win, the winner goes up against the winner of Win and Hapki. And the two guys that don't win those matches go up against each other as well for the lower bracket. So we're just going to be following all the stages tonight. We're going to go from this to the grand finals, and everything is happening tonight. And we're going to end with the grand finals for the ones to earn the spot that can take on the number 2 of the EU server later on for the possibility to get the wildcard if they also beat RU. So that's definitely going to be interesting gameplay. And I'm very curious to see who will win. And what, as usual, what they do and everything. I just love this kind of high competitive gameplay. It's just so much fun. So right now I'm just waiting for OBS to be done with the... There we go. First chat messages, and the delay is still there, but we're gonna be there very soon. And yeah, I will do my very best not to leave a map on the stream during these matches today. I think that it might be going well, if only for the fact that after yesterday, it will be very fresh in my mind not to do that kind of stuff. So hopefully all will go well. And the gameplay will be amazing. And we have 4 very worthy clans of this stage, and it's just gonna be epic, basically. So we're gonna start tonight on Himmelsdorf and then Port Bay. The only problem that I have with these matches is that it's best of 3, which means that luck is a factor basically. And that has everything to do with the fact that you only have, well, 3 chances to make it work. And that's tricky, because you only have 2 maps, and with those maps you get, from the first map you both get a spawn, so that's no biggie. But from the second map, you only get 1 spawn, and that makes sense because it's like the 3rd game, but that can give you an advantage. Because on some maps, there's just stronger spawns than on others. And that's why I always think that best of 5 is better. Because even though with the 3rd map there you have basically the same problem, you have 4 matches leading up to that. And you're a lot less likely to be entering that 5th battle. Same with best of 7. The further it goes, the further you go along in the matches that is, the less likely it is that you will get that last map. That just makes it more fair in my opinion. But yeah, we're gonna start with Himmelsdorf. Himmelsdorf has 4 bases: Med Base A, Heavy Base D, and the bases closest to the spawn B and C. And this is a city map. It's pretty flat. It's a haven for side scraping basically. And it's not my favorite map, but it's not a bad map either. And basically what people usually do, there's the room. Let me go in there and ready up. I'm the first one there. This doesn't happen often. But yeah, What people usually do is that they grab the bases closest to their spawn and then either push A or D. Rarely that you see them go all the way around. And people tend to stick to the bases more closest to them. So with that in mind, when you start up north, C and D would be the more logical decision in a team match than A and B would be. At the same time, A is a hard base to steal, whereas D is, well, not necessarily easy, but relatively easy. And that means that it will be... Actually, I'm in Hapki. What? I was supposed to follow Immor. Okay. But we still have Himmelsdorf as the first map. And I'm a bit shocked. Yeah, never mind. We're still going to be seeing raid matches, so we'll see what happens. And I'm hoping that Rolling might get the others so that we see 2 different streams of 2 different matches, but I don't know. But yeah, base A is harder to steal basically because it's behind those trains. And it's easy to get a line of fire into anyone going into A and easy to spot anyone going there. While with D, it's harder to take it, but easier to steal it for the same reason. Because if your team pushes that way, you have a lot bigger chance that you're gonna grab it. Because there's pretty good cover there and pretty good exits there. You can get out of it if you need to. So that's the first map that we're gonna get. And the second map that we're gonna get is Port Bay. And Port Bay is with the med base at sea, with the river and the corner where you expect meds to go in encounters, but generally also in supremacy mode. And you have A and B in the city, both pretty open, both in the line of fire from snipers on either side. And it makes it a tricky map. And it used to be that both sides had pretty good camping spots on both sides to overtake C as well. But those have been removed, so those are impossible now. But this is it's a pretty fun map. It's a pretty versatile map. And you can usually see in the lineup of the teams where they're likely to go. If they have a lot of heavies, that's likely to go A and B. If they have a lot of meds, they're likely to push through C and potentially grab B as well. So I'm going to take the map away so that I can't forget. And I'm going to go into the game to get ready. So on Hapki's side, they're completely readied up. We see 3 IS-4s, an E50M, an IS-7, an E3 and an AMX-50B. Which on a map like Himmelsdorf makes sense. You don't need a lot of speed, but you can use a lot of armor. And that's all to do with the maps being so flat. There's very little peak booming possibilities here. And on the other side we have Win with 3 113s, 2 AMX-50Bs, an E50M and a 263. So that's if those AMX-50Bs can clip together, then you have a lot of issue when you're the enemy, because they can clip a tank together if they pen them all. And that's basically the strength and the weakness of the autoloaders. But they can be so dangerous, especially if they use their team for, well, not necessarily cover, but more like support. That they use their team to get them to reload in safety, and then they can clip another tank. So it will be fun to see what they do, because Hapki does drive more armor than Win does. And the 113s are easy targets for the AMX-50Bs. But Hapki doesn't use any of them. So that's going to be interesting to see, and I'm very curious to see how that will go. So we have half a minute left before we actually enter the battle. And yeah. In 20 seconds we're going to load in, and then we're going to see what happens. Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. Here we go. Lots of banners on Hapki's side. Everyone has a banner, and on Win's side, no one has one. Quite. Don't see that often. So now we just need to wait until everyone is loaded and we can start the battle. It's actually a fun fact on PC that Citadel up there, you can actually go there. The map is a lot bigger then. And though I understand that they can't make these matches, these maps so big, I would love to see bigger matches than this, especially bigger matches than Dynasty Pro or the other small maps. Canal is a decently sized map, I love it. So let's go up and away and see what they do. We have Hapke focusing completely on base A side, with the E50M pushing with the E3 behind it. We have the E50M and the 268 on the other hand, doing pretty much the same thing, and that's the first shot going into the E50M. And this is something I don't get. When you've just been shot, and you know where you got shot from, he could have easily driven into that base and cap it. Now, Win is pushing through the middle, and they're gonna go for the IS-4, and possibly that the IS-4 is in a lot of trouble now because he's not managed to cap that base. But he's losing a lot of health versus 3 tanks, and as long as the IS-7 and the E3 are not pushing there, it means that they are not supporting their IS-4, and it means that they're getting shot from the side. And there goes the IS-4, but look at the HP that it costs Hapke for them to push that. And Win did lose HP, but it's very tricky for them. We have the AMX 50B that is now has 1 shot left, and he's pulling back to hold. We have the IS-4 in the back as well, but he's looking the other way, and the 113 knows that the AMX is either reloading, and now the AMX needs protecting because he's reloading now and he's on the long reload. We have the E3 that pulled back as well, and we have the rest of Win pushing in, and this is a very aggressive push, but I think is a very good push for them to do, because everyone is focused now on saving that AMX, and that means that they can get shot from the flanks very easily. And look at the E50M just vanishing there, and there he goes. And now Hapke has lost 2 tanks already. The E3 is gone, 4 tanks gone. This is not looking good for Hapke at all, and this is definitely Win's game. Because even if they have a few low health shots, they're not going to be able to win this. Only 2 tanks left now, they're bleeding HP. And Win is just casually pushing in, and it doesn't even matter that they have low health tanks. And there we go, with the last ram. The battle is over, 7-0 for Win. So the point goes to Hapke, to Win, sorry. That was a very aggressive push by Win there, through the middle and everything. Very daring move, but they got away with it, and I don't understand why Hapke didn't either push towards B, but their hesitation there, that got them shot in the flanks, that cost them way too much HP. So now the teams are pretty much readied up again, and we see that Hapke is taking a Jäger, a T62A, an AMX 50B, an IS-7, an E3, and Mags and IS-4. So more armor and more gunpowder basically. And on the other hand we see a Mouse, another Mouse, 2 T57 heavies, a 113 and 2 IS-4. So more armor on that side as well, but also still 2 autoloaders. So we might be seeing some aggressive push from them again because of that reason. And this is what I like about the different spawns, that they both get a spawn. Then it's still fair, but same, like with best of 3, there's still luck involved, and I always feel best of 5 would be so much better for these kind of stages. At the same time, I understand that Wargaming can't do like 3 or 4 excessively big tournaments in one go, also for the wildcards, so best of 3 is the best they can do, because they're squeezing this whole final into one day. And here we go. And now we just have to wait for everyone to load in again. Gonna see if I can find my Hafen, which is not here. I think it's over there somewhere. but I can't see it. Poor abandoned haven. And you saw the last match what both the strengths and the weakness of the autoloaders, because it's tricky business, to be honest. Because if you can clip like that, you're awesome. But if you're trying to hold with one autoloader, Hapke was trying to save this AMX 50Bs and it didn't work out for them. So now we see a completely different way. It seems that Hapke is now focusing on C and overlooking A, whereas Win is pushing through to A and possibly grab B in the meantime. Mouse has been spotted, T62A has as well, but he's still full health at the moment, and he's pulling back. Because with the Mouse going there, you can basically assume that the rest is going there as well. So he's going back through their spawn. The AMX is turning around as well. I think they're regrouping. And we see the first shot going into the Mouse as they cross over, as the AMX and the T62A both run off to the other side. And the guys at C are holding. We have now Win grabbing A, but Hapke has now 2 bases, so the pressure is on Win. Because even if they grab B, which the T57 Heavy is now doing, they have the point advantage. And they have a point advantage of about 70 points by the time that the base is capped. So that means that Win would have to kill 2 tanks without losing any of their own to make up for that. So that's going to be interesting to see. And they will need to hold those bases. D is pretty unprotected right now. The AMX is going there. And Win is steadily pulling back towards the spawn, going through it, and I think they're going to make a push at D. We have the AMX that is cheekily going over the hill and looking up, but there's no one there, so he can't see anyone yet. And Hapke is happily situated in this position, taking care to look at every direction and be ready for a push, because I think that's what we're going to be seeing Win doing. With T57 Heavy is just sneaking, trying to spot people, but no spots are happening yet. And basically now both teams are just holding. They're unaware of where the other is. They're unaware of where the other will come from. We have the T62A that is going around, potentially either to protect their TD and look over the Yege. Same with the AMX. But they're mostly focusing on the A side. I think that they're gonna through their spawn. And now we see Win that is making a push. And no one has been spotted yet. And I think that now they feel that this is coming. We have the IS-7 that is going into a holding position. The Mouse has been spotted. Now they're getting spotted. And we're gonna see some fireworks, I believe. And we see T57 Heavy losing HP. Shots being taken both sides. E3 taking damage. And the Mouse is making an aggressive push. And they kind of have to, because they need those points. They need to take kills. But, ooh, that Mouse lost a lot of HP in one go. And you have the Yege pushing in, and the Yege is going to finish off the Mouse, I think. If he gets the opportunity to do that. But he shouldn't wait with Dick. He shot the ground, that's not healthy. But we have Hapke in a definite better position, even though Win now has the bases. They need to make those kills, but there's a lot of HP being lost on Win's side so far. And that means that Hapke could have this if they manage to take out the tanks. There goes the first from Win. And now we have the Yege that killed the Mouse. And we see people bleeding HP everywhere, but Win has lost 2 guns so far. And now the rest of the team is pushing in. We have the T62A is gone, but the Mouse is almost gone as well. There goes the Mouse. 3 tanks gone, 2 tanks gone from, on the other side. And this can go either way, and they're all capping bases. But they need to be careful that they don't lose too many guns. We have the 113 that is pushing the IS-7, and we have the Mouse that is also pushing the 113. So this is something that does not look good for Win, because they are losing tanks a lot, and there's only 1 healthy tank left. And now there's only 1 tank left for Win. And he's being met by a Yege that can get behind him and HE him. Possibly. But the E3 is actually just blocking the shot. That's a very clever move from the IS-4. And now we're probably gonna see a shot by the Yege. That was a big shot, and there he goes. Pretty close call. Nice aggressive push for win. But I think they lost too much HP, making it towards base D. So now it's 1-1, and now we're gonna get Port Bay. And this is something that I really like. I like that it's 1-1. Because it goes to show that the teams are nicely matched. So now we just have to wait for them to ready up so I can call up the lineup. Even though you can always see all of that. But yeah, it's kind of my point to just state the obvious and everything. Those avatars near the names, those are banners. With the Twister coins that you can get from watching these streams, you can buy Twister crates. And Twister crates you buy supporting a team, and that gives you basically the logo of that team next to your name when you enter the battle. But yeah, you need to watch through the portal. Link is in the description of the video. And then you get Twister coins when you watch through there at the end of the stream. So we've all the minute left to go. Hapkey is readied up. We see a 268, an IS-7, an E100, an Object 140, two IS-4s and a 113. So that's relative speed and relative armor. A bit of both basically. And on the other side we see two IS-4s, a Batchat, a 268, a Grill, an IS-7 and a Mouse. So again, basically mixture of armor and firepower and speed. So that's a pretty universal lineup, to be honest, from both it seems. And we're gonna see what happens in this last exciting battle of this matchup. Dun 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 dun. I always find the E100 tricky to use in Clan Wars because it's so susceptible to Premo. Even when angled, there's generally a part of it that you can pen with Premo. So that's always tricky. But the gun is amazing on it, and it's basically a TD with a turret in a way. So let's see what happens. We have Hapkey pushing a little bit towards C, but mostly towards A by the looks of it, with an overlook at B. They're basically going to cover all the bases. And we have Win on the other side pretty much doing the same thing. And I think that's a good call because you don't want anyone to get any of the bases. We have the Batchat that's going up there to overlook to make sure that no one's grabbing base C. Both have been spotted, but the Object 140 is alone and he's maintained his full health. The IS-7 is now coming there as well. But the Batchat is on his own and I don't think they know that. They have teammates behind there, but no one actually there. And basically no one is capping a base. We have the IS-4 that's holding ready to decap A if he needs it. We have the IS-7 there at the back overlooking. The Object 140 now did take some damage. And we see a blind shot being taken into base B even though no one is there. Blind shots being taken into camping position as well, which is always a clever thing to do, only this time no one is there. And we have the IS-4 holding, overlooking base B, spotting the Mouse there. And taking a nice shot into the Mouse, but also taking some HE damage there. So they don't know where the Gorilla is yet, but they do know that someone is shooting from there. And they're being generally quite careful, and I think that's a good call. But at the same time, no one has any base. There's no pressure on anyone. We have the Mouse that is very near base B, but not capping it. We have the IS-4 and the IS-7 still in the same position, not really doing anything. We have the Grill that is taking some shots up there. We see a blind shot going at the Grill, but not hitting it. And they know that there are campers there. And at some point something has to happen because this is the final match, and I believe that that is why they play so carefully right now. The only ones that are spotted right now is the IS-7, the 140, the Batchat and the Mouse. But not really much damage has been done. And the only one that's taken damage is that mouse, and a little bit the Object 140, and a tiny bit the IS-4. But now we see change. We see the Batchet going into the city, probably going towards A, and trying to do that unspotted. And I think that's a clever call. But he doesn't know what's behind there, and that he will get spotted by the IS-4. And there he goes, he's taking A. And now the IS-4 is looking back, side-scraping, taking a blind shot but not spotting the Batchet. And we have the 268 that is ready to go. And seeing, there we go, we see a nice shot into the Batchet there. And now the Object 268 has been spotted, but he has a house for cover. But it's not enough to defend him from the IS-4 and the mouse over there. So he's now hugging the side of the house, trying to not get shot. But they did not manage to cap it, and it cost them a bit of HP. Blind shot being taken by the 268 there. And we have the IS-4 pushing in, and I think that's very tricky because he doesn't know who else is there. And they know that there are campers over there. And now the IS-4 is pushing on the other position. Has been spotted, but the Batchet hasn't. And I think they're gonna try a part cap again. There we go. We see more blind shots going. And he's not actually committing to it. He's spotting the 268 by doing that though. And I think that's mainly the goal for him. But he now seems to be pulling back a little bit, trolling a little bit. But not a lot is happening. We see on the other side the 140 that made his way to the corner. The IS-4s and the mouse that are unspotted. Basically at the moment no one is spotted. And all we hear and see is blind shots. And the Batchet spotting the 268 every now and again. Trying to troll spot. And getting shot when he tries to cap. And now we see the IS-7 that is pushing in. And that IS-4 is now in trouble along with the 268. Because 268 can now not hide from either mouse or IS-4s or the IS-7. He needs to get out of there, and he's gonna get shot when he does that. So he is not in a good position right now. And we have the IS-7 that is trying to spot him. And the Batchet pretty much doing the same. But right now he's hugging the building and he's pretty much safe. But with 2 minutes left to go, no one's dead. No bases have been capped. No one has an advantage. There's a slight... Basically the HP advantage is non-existent. So yeah, this can literally go either way. And now we see a push over here with the IS-4s and the mouse. And versus the IS-7, the 113 and the Object. But the Object is not covering them. And now Win has 3 targets, well 4, to take. And that's a big hit on the IS-4 there by the grill. And they will need to push over, they will need to make it count because the 113 is disappearing. And anyone that dies will basically mean a big disadvantage to their team. And I think this was a way too aggressive push by Hapke because now they're at a definite loss. And they're gonna be losing tanks a lot. And they're not gonna be able to stop it. At most they're gonna be able to take someone with them. But this is not looking good for Hapke. There goes the second gun. The 268 is a one shot. There goes the third gun. And now the IS-7 is alone versus a lot, so that's not gonna go well. And there he goes. And at the moment, we see that the only healthy tank is the E100. And they will need to, no, they don't have time to cap the base actually, it won't matter. They need to push their grill, they need to make it happen, and he misses that very vital shot on the grill. And that's basically, I'm afraid to say it, game over for Hapke. At this point, with the HP advantage that Win has, the point advantage, and the fact that there's only 22 seconds left to go. So this is not something that Win is gonna be giving away. And the E100 lost way too much HP trying to get that IS-4. And now the E100 is the only one left. There's 9 seconds left. And he's not gonna be able to make this. There he goes. And Win wins the point and is through to the next round. There's actually no points. He's through to the next round. To the semi-finals. Very well played. That was lovely gameplay. So let's see, in 11 minutes we got the next. So we have Win that is going to go against Life, and Hapki that is going to go against Imor. And I'm very curious to see which one I will be streaming. So let's see how that went. 2-0 for Life. Must have been epic matches as well. I'm not going to be showing you any replays because there's too little time in between the thingies. But yeah. So I honestly don't know what to tell you because map-wise I don't actually know who I'm streaming yet. So I don't know what maps we're going to get. But I do have them readied up so I can show them when we know. And right now there is some chat going on in the streamers chat. I'm trying to follow a little bit of it while we wait for the room to pop up. But yeah, we're gonna see who we're gonna see, and I hope you're gonna enjoy that either way. So with that in mind, we have a few minutes left to go. Let's see, 5 minutes before the room is up. And then we're either going to be seeing Yamato Harbor and Naval Frontier, or we're going to see Desert Sands and Oasis Palms. I do have all the maps, so I just need to know which we have and which we can stream. Honestly, it would help a lot if we knew beforehand. But yeah, nobody's perfect. And in a way this keeps things interesting because even I'm guessing what we're gonna see. Well, 4 minutes before the room is up. And then we will know who we will see. So I'm very curious to see what will happen, and not just with whoever we stream, but generally, because these kind of matches, there's so much pressure on the teams, especially when it's only best of 3. So that means that they basically, any mistake that they make costs them, and it costs them a lot. So that's always very, well, tricky, to be honest. And I use the word tricky a lot, but that's basically the best way to describe it, because it doesn't have to be hard. But the fact that it's tricky means that it's not easy, and it depends on so many factors. We have, like we saw in these matches, in the first match we saw Hapki go for the bases, and that's not something that we see a lot in the top echelon tournament. And I think that mostly it seems to be played more like Encounter than Supremacy. And I think that if they were to play it like Supremacy, it could put more pressure on the enemy team. But at the same time, we've seen some really nice pushes over the last few days, and it's been pretty much a pleasure to watch. So I just really, I want to see how this ends. I want to see who takes it home. I want to see who gets to go against the number 2 of the EU server next week. Not sure when that match actually will happen. But once we know, I'm hoping to stream it. So I'm definitely going to be asking Wargaming about that. Because it's just, like I mentioned this yesterday, I actually hate watching YouTube. And I hate watching live streams. But tournament, watching these battles and being able to commentate on it, I really enjoy doing that. So yeah, this is something that I see myself doing a lot, even though it takes away a lot of time, and a lot of energy, and a lot of effort. But it's just fun. It's fun to see the competitive gameplay. It's fun to see the teams come together, pull together, and do whatever it is they do. And it's nice to try and read the battle and predict what they're gonna do, or at least name what needs to be done in order for something to, well, for one side to win. Like with the last battle, they were both in pretty good positions. Hapki at some point still had the HP advantage, but they made that push, but they made the push too weak. And on the other side, they didn't push fast enough. So that really cost them. And then they just were at a loss, literally. And that's basically what I like analyzing. I like looking at it in about 1 minute. The room will be up. I like looking at these battles and reading it. I like learning from it, because you can learn a lot from these battles. You can learn where you can go on maps, what position might work for you in what tank. And in a tune as well, because you see positions that work a lot with 2 people. And that's something that's just... It's fun. It's fun to see for me. It's fun to learn from. Because not a day goes by that I don't learn anything new about this game. If I play, that is, because I don't always. But it's just, yeah. That's something that I really like. No, Leo Lion, you are not a moderator, regardless of what you seem to think. So I'm just gonna pull up YouTube as well. And I have absolutely no idea. There's the room. Let's see who we're gonna stream. Hapki versus Imor. Okay. So that means we're gonna have Canyon as a map. So I'm just gonna quickly grab Canyon. And very curious to see what Rolling Swarm will be streaming this time around. And this is basically Canyon. You have the base in the middle that is very hard to cap, but very hard to steal once it has been capped. We have base C up in the corner that is a pretty nice line of fire into the spawn of the other teams. But that also makes it a bit hard to cap because it's very easy to push on it. And we have A in between and behind the buildings that is easy to decap depending on positions, but harder to decap basically than C would be. At the same time, for me, the favorite base on this map would be C, because the crossfire that you can create into B, the way that you can push in the enemy spawn and basically get behind them, create a sort of pincer movement. And that's something that people don't generally think about all that much. People are very, in the encounter battles at least, non-encounter random battles, they're very content to take a position, to stay there. But it's so nice to just basically shock the enemy with something and make them react, force them to turn towards you, which means that your team has free shots in their behinds. So that's one, and after that we might get Fort Despair. Fort Despair, similar thing, heavy base C, B and A. All bases are pretty open. C is the most closed off base and the easiest to cap without getting shot. But B is very open and A is incredibly open. And these are the kind of maps, it's small, it can work really nicely. But overall I always feel that it's not an easy map for Supremacy, mostly because those bases are so accessible to fire from the other side. But yeah, we might not even get there, we don't know. We're gonna start with Canyon. I've taken off the map so I can't forget that. And we see that both teams are completely readied up with 2 minutes and 20 seconds left to go. And we see that Hapki is using 2 IS-4s, 2 IS-7s, 2 140s and 1 268. Whereas on the other side we see 1 IS-4, we see 2 113s, 2 Batchats, a 268 and E5. Always lovely to see an E5. So I'm curious to see where they're gonna go with this lineup, because this is not necessarily a lineup that will work a lot in the middle, because I always feel that the 140s don't have the gun depression to make it work there, and the Batchat would, but dies so very easily, so it's very tricky to use that thing basically anywhere. But when it comes to the middle, I think that Imor has the upper hand, depending on where they push, of course. And both these teams can go basically either A or C with this lineup. But both these teams have had an inkling to not really basically leave any base uncovered, basically. But it's also tricky because it means you're spreading your team out so much. And that's one of the things that we saw Win do repeatedly. They stick together as a team, and it's their strength. And it's really worked out for them. So in 45 seconds about, we're gonna see what happens. And in 5 minutes you're gonna know which game we will be playing. Well, in about 40 seconds you know which lineup this is. And I'm very curious to see what I'm gonna be streaming after this matchup. So in 14 seconds we're gonna be entering the battle, and we're gonna see what they're gonna do and who's gonna blow who up and away. And here we go. So let's see what happens. We're just waiting for everyone to load in, and then we can actually see. Let's see if we can spot my Haven this time around. There it is! Aww. Nice pink camo, best camo in the game. Yakturko seems to be in the mood for a party. Very different camos all around. It's taken a long time for them to load in there, yeah. But we seem to be there.
Let's get this show on the road.
And up and away. Let's see what happens. We have Hapki that is focusing mainly on A side, with an overlook towards C, and I think that the IS-4 is going to be spotting C, where we have Imor that is pushing up towards B, that is going to be greeted by an IS-7 there, and pushing up towards A as well. And we see the first people being spotted, first damage being taken, the Batchat taking some damage, and we have the other Batchat already going the other way. But no one is taking A because of it. And we have the E5 and the Batchat at base B. The other Batchat going away as well. And we have Imor that is taking base C. And I think that the E5 now pushing through the middle there. That was a big shot into the IS-7. He's not going to be happy with that. And now Imor also has a base, and that gives him an advantage. But where the E5 is now, that is very tricky with those IS-4, that IS-4 and the IS-7 over there. That's not something you really want to be doing. And we see that they're also capping base A now, which is very cheeky. But that will definitely put the pressure on. And now the E5 is pulling back, which I think is a very good move. We have the Batchats that have capped base A, and they're getting out of there now. But this is definitely giving Imor a massive point advantage. And pressure, because they have two bases. So even if Hapki starts doing damage, or more damage, they will have the pressure will be on them. And now we see the 140 is being spotted. The Batchat is running away, and Imor is basically shooting. But they're gonna lose base A, but that's fine. They can afford to. They don't need it. They're already 200 points ahead. And that E5 is holding on his own. And we see the rest of Imor pulling back at the train tracks and basically supporting their team member They're pulling back towards base A, towards their spawn, probably to deal with any rush on the E5 over there, because he's in a vital position. And now both teams have a base, but Imor, like I said, has a massive point advantage there. And the E5 is taking some cheeky shots there. And we have Hapki that is not quite pushing, and they're being overlooked by the IS-4 there. And at some point, Hapki will need to make a move. Especially since they're lacking that point advantage. They're lacking the HP advantage as well. So this could be very, very tricky. Apparently I'm supposed to laugh more, which is laughable. But yeah. Shots being fired by the Batchat and the 113 that are pushing. Ooh, but that's a big shot into the Batchat there. He peeked out quite a bit there. And we have the 113 taking it more carefully. We have the Batchat running away. We have the IS-7 trying to push that E5. And Hapki is running a push near base C. And if they knew that the 113 was alone, they might choose to push that instead. But the Batchat is pulling away. We see shots being fired on the other side, so I'm just gonna go over there. With the 113 in base C, we have a crossfire here if the 113 pulls back, but we see shots being fired all around. And the 113 is gonna be a very juicy target now. They need to be careful, and they need to get a base back, Imor, if they start to capping that. And Imor is capping the base, the 113 is taking damage. They need to make a push. There goes the 140, and there goes the 113. And there goes the other 140 as well. That is very cheekily done by Imor. And they definitely have an advantage, because even now they now have no base, they've lost a lot of HP. But so has Imor, and the advantage isn't all that big. But they still have the massive point advantage, and they now have a base again. We have the Batchat. That is now the IS-7 is gone, so I'm just gonna go back here. We have 4 Hapki players left that are gonna push that IS-4 who's behind the train, which does not make him easy to shoot, where he has a lot of firepower behind him and on the side. So when they push for him, yes, the IS-4 might die, but it's costing Hapki a great deal. And now we have the IS-7 that is gonna focus on the 268 there. And we see that Hapki lost another gun. Now it's 3 versus 7, but Imor already has the game because they had that massive point advantage. Very well played. So now we're gonna see another battle on Canyon from the other spawn. This is one of those matches where I feel that the spawns have an impact. Because for me, the south spawn is stronger than the north spawn. And that can massively impact the game. And that makes it hard to carry it. But we're gonna see how they deal with it and if it matters for them. So on Hapki's side we now see 1 member less. He's probably gonna be switched. There we go. We see 2 IS-4s, 2 IS-7s, a grill, a Batchat and a 113. And on Imor's side we see 2 IS-4s, 2 113s, an E5, an FV and a Batchat. So that's gonna be cool as well, because the 183, I've said this before, I'll say it again, is always a difficult tank to take with you, because if it does land the damage, then definitely worth taking it. But it's also so likely to miss the shots, and that will make it very hard. Because if he misses a shot, he's useless for 20-25 seconds thereabouts. And I don't think at this stage that anyone is gonna be not using calibrated shells, because you want to make sure those shots pen. So in 5 seconds we get to go and we get to see what happens. So here we go. And now we have to load for everyone to wait. We have to wait for everyone to load in again. In the meantime, let's spot my... Oh, there it is already. I was gonna say, let's play Find My Haven, but there he is. Smoking and... Oh, destroyed. This is a tank, I'm still grinding for it. I'm currently at, I believe, tier 6 or 7. Not quite sure which. And this is a tank that I really want. The Batchat is not OP, but it's so fast and derpy in its own way. It's just a lot of fun to drive. So let's go. And we see Hapki mainly focusing on C by the looks like. And we have Immor mainly going there as well. Hapki is going to be able to take base A freely without contest. And I wonder if they're going to drive straight on in there. We have the E5 taking up the position at B again. And we have Immor taking base C straight away. But they're going to have a slight point disadvantage because Hapki capped base A earlier than they did. You see some blind shots going in because no one has been spotted. Both teams have a base. Tiny advantage to Hapki there. And now the 113 has been spotted, but they know that he's not alone there. And I wonder if we're gonna see an aggressive push here. Batchat is running away. Might go for a different base. We have Hapki that is focusing. They've basically split their firepower. The E5 has been spotted, but they're not really. So is the 113. But not really much of anything is happening just yet. And now they know a bit more of the firepower that is there, but they don't know who's behind here. With the grill all the way to the back. And that grill is gonna be itching to shoot that E5. Which makes sense. We see some shots going on. Yaktur taking a bit of damage there. And he's pulling back a little bit, and I think that might give the E5 reason to think that he can cap B. But it might cost him very dearly for standing like that, especially with his turret turned that way. Not sure if he's going to be able to do it. Grill would have to reposition to get that shot. But ooh, that was very close. For a moment it looked like he was getting away with it and getting a cheeky cap. But that would have definitely given Immor the pressure on Hapki. So if the Batchat over there going back to base C, that was a massive shot into the E5. That has to have been the grill. And the grill did take a cheekier position where he can shoot into base B more freely. They're not going to be able to cap that like that again. And that E5 is losing too much HP. He should pull back more. We have Immor that is focusing on pulling back towards their spawn. They didn't make the push there. We have the 183 that is at the back, overlooking the alleyway to see if the E5 is getting pushed. But overall, the difference in HP is only 1k, so it's not that much. But Hapki does have that tiny bit of point advantage. So they're gonna have to be careful with that. And right now this could tip either way, because at some point one of the teams will have to make push, and it will have to be Immor because they lack that point advantage. The 113 here though is almost dead. And that's very tricky. That was a massive shot into the E4, the IS4 there. And now Immor is pushing in, and I wonder if they're gonna hold or if they're just gonna steal the base. And they kind of need to steal that base, and they're gonna have to be careful about it. And this is a way for Immor to get the point advantage back, because now they already have it, just by keeping them from getting points from base A. But Immor did lose quite a bit of HP, and now Hapki is capping base C, but it doesn't really matter because now they have base A and they took that point advantage by capping that. But they are down about 2k HP, so that might be very tricky. And that IS4 is not going to survive for long there. Even with the E5 covering it, there goes the IS4. And now the points are tiny bit in Immor's favor still, but that batch, ooh, that was painful. They're making a push here against too many tanks, and the IS4 did die. But they will need to be very careful not to give this away now. We have Immor that is pulling back. We have several low health tanks. The Batchat is almost gone. The Immor Batchat is hiding very nicely, because he's gonna get murdered there if that grill sees him. And he's gonna die anyway. But now both tanks have lost a tank, but Immor has the point advantage. Both teams have lost 2 tanks even. And Immor needs to play this very carefully if they want to carry this. Because they need to survive. And oof, there's some big shots being fired over there. Immor loses another tank. And they need to make the kills if they want to make this happen. Immor loses another tank. And now they're at a distinct advantage. The 1A3 needs to make this shot count. They needs to kill, but Hapki has the game. Because they took out too many of Immor's guns. Very nicely played by Hapki there. I just heard them doing 0 damage every game. Yeah, that's awful of me, isn't it? And now we're gonna see Fort Despair. I'm just gonna pull the map back up just tiny little bit. This is the map, what it looks like. These are the bases. It's quite a heavy map because it's small. You don't really have much advantage from mediums here, except for the rate of fire. But overall, heavies do really well on this map. So I'm gonna take it away again. And I'm gonna stay in the room. And we'll see what happens. We have Hapki that has taken 2 E3s, 2 IS4s, 2 113s and IS7. And on Immor's side, we're not entirely sure about the lineup yet, but we see a mouse, an E100, 2 IS4s, a 268, a 113 and a potential IS7. So that's, yeah, a lot of armor, a lot of firepower. Those 113s can be absolute monsters on this map. The only thing that they have as a weakness is the fact that they have no turret. And that's something that the mouse and the E100 do have. So we see some things being changed on Immor's side. We now see 2 IS4s, a mouse in E100, a 268 IS7 and a 215B. So that's going to be fun to see, basically. This is all the pressures on this. Whoever loses this match is out of this top echelon championship tournament. So that's going to be cool to watch, to see what the pressure does. Because pressure can shape diamonds. And here we go. And now we just have to wait for the team to load in. There's my poor burned out Hafen. And we see a complete mixture of camouflages again. Thank you, Andy, for the updates, by the way, on the scores. That's very lovely. So currently it's 1-1 versus life and win. Well, for life and win. So that's basically similar to what we have here. It's 1-1. And that makes it definitely interesting. Something, 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 something. I have no idea what's being said. And let's see what happens. Here we go. We see Hapki pushing towards base C with half of their team. We have the IS4 that's probably going to overlook base B. And we have the E3 overlooking base A, potentially supporting the IS4. And we have 2 tanks going to the corner. Whereas Immor is completely focusing on base C, or the side of base C that is. And they've already lost a little bit of HP there, with the cheeky IS7 peeking out. But no one is going into the bases yet. We now see that... Ooh, that cost the IS7. Hapki is cheekily capping base B. They're getting away with it too. And Immor is now pushing into base B and C, and I wonder if they're actually gonna cap it or just go straight on through. They're going straight on through, and I think they're gonna make a push here, knowing that there have to be less tanks here. They are leaving someone behind that is getting in each other's way, and stay cap base C. And we see some big shots going into the IS7 there, but the E100 lost tons of health there. And there goes the IS-7, and now they both have a base, but Imor has the point advantage because they took out that IS-7. And they're gonna have to be careful because the E100 is close to dying. And Imor will have to push through with this push basically to make it work. With the 113 that is gone. Ooh, the 268 lost a ton of health there. Imor is bleeding HP right now. And this is not looking good for them unless they manage to focus fire and take out guns very, very quickly. But they're not committing to the push, and I think that's the problem. We see people pulling back when they should be pushing together. And there goes the second gun from Imor. And they're just losing HP way too fast. This is not looking good. And it's now 5 versus 5. But look at the difference in HP. 5k advantage to Hapke. This is Hapke's game. And the IS-7 is gonna be hurt in the bum if that didn't bounce, because IS-7 is troll. We have a mouse versus an E3, but this is not gonna last long. And we have the E100 here. That is showing his flank to the E3. He does get away with it, he does get a nice shot in, but he's now basically on his own. And there he goes. And now the only one we have left is the mouse. And he's being circled by an IS-4. And even if he shoots the IS-4, he's not gonna survive this. Because he's... there we go. And the game is Hapke, and Hapke is through to the next round. And Imor, unfortunately, is out of the tournament. So that was quite cool. And let's see what's happened on the other side. In 11 minutes we're gonna see the next match. And Live won. Live is through to the finals. So then next up we have Hapke versus Win. Again. So I'm just gonna go to Hapke. We have Desert Sands and Oasis Palms. So again, I'm not going to be showing you any replays because there's, in my opinion, not enough time for that. And we're going to study the map a little bit. So next up, we're going to see Desert Sands. Desert Sands is, I could say, one of my more favorite maps. And that has a lot to do with the way that you have such complete different strategies here. Basically you have base C, which is a heavy, which is completely covered, and you can basically hold that and basically be kept from holding it because of that building in the middle there. And you can hug that building, try to cap it, but also keep the enemy from capping it. Base B is completely open and can cross-fire from near positions around base C, from the town there, and from around base A. We have A that is not completely open but not completely protected in the desert that can overlook base B as well. So that gives a lot of opportunities to go for places to go to on this map. And I prefer the desert because I feel that the positioning is a lot better there, and it's easier to decap the whole of B from there than it is from C. But this is just, it's a fun map. And a lot depends on how much speed you have in your team and how fast you can get somewhere. Because if you have like one med and you plan to all go desert, that med will have to wait for you to be there. Especially if the other team has 1 or 2 meds and can do the very same thing. Because one-on-one battles generally tend to happen on these kind of tournaments. But they make things difficult because one-on-one, it's not just skill, it's a lot of luck involved as well. Because if you turn your tank just so when someone just fires, you're so much more likely to bounce that shot. And yes, that's partly skill, but it's also luck. Because if you're driving a tank that has very little armor, then it's very hard to bounce those shots. And if you have a little bit more troll armor, it's a lot more likely. Same thing is that when you're face hugging, if you point your gun at the gun of the other guy, they're a lot likely to shoot you and hit your gun rather than you. So yeah, but overall, on this map, I personally prefer the desert side because you have so much more better positioning in my opinion. And it's easier to Well, to be honest, it's easier to have the city and hold the city than it is to take the city from the desert. But you can decap B so easily. So unless they manage to cap B very early in the game, you should be able to keep it decapped from around base A. But possibly without even being spotted. As long as the targets in B have been spotted, then yeah. And if we get a third match, then it's going to be on Oasis Palms. And this is Oasis Palms. And with that, we have base A in the heavy side, base B in the middle, and base C on the med side. All these bases are pretty open depending on where you are, but I always feel that base C is the most protected because it's a whole town away basically, and you have the whole lower pathway basically through the middle there, and it's a lot harder to get to C from A and B than it is to get from B to A or from A to B. And I always feel that base A and B are more easily kept together, but B being so open and there's so many shots being able to get fired into base A, then in a way C is the most protected, but it depends on who gets spotted there and what kind of firepower can happen there. Congratulations to Nova, by the way, I'm just reading the chat. They won the middle echelon tournament, so congrats to them. Well done. But yeah, those are basically the maps that we're going to be seeing at this stage. And honestly, I don't even know if that's the one that we're going to be streaming yet, but I'm going to just assume that I'm going to be following Hapki for more of the tournament. So let's see how much time we have left to go. In 2 minutes the room will be up. And then we will see who we got to stream. So it should be fun matches. I'm just, sorry, a bit distracted with the chat and chat elsewhere. And in the meantime, while we wait and we have plenty of time, I'm gonna take a bit of a drink. Because all this talking makes your throat dry. But these have been exciting matches so far. It's been really fun to watch these guys play. And I honestly... yeah, I'm gonna... in half a minute it will be up. Just quickly gonna check the final stage. This is what the end result looks like. Ah, they got second place. Well done, guys. So with that, I'm gonna go back because the room should be up any moment now. But overall, these tournaments are so much fun to show and to stream and to talk about and all of that. And I like the massive difference in what people do when you compare the Twister Cup to the top echelon. Because in Twister Cup you notice that they are pushing a lot for the bases and the point advantage and everything. And I've noticed that with the echelon tournament so far, people tend to push a lot more for for basically the oh, sorry, I can't brain today. I have the dumb. For just murdering each other rather than for the point advantage. And you see that people, when they grab the point advantage, it kind of shocks the other team. It's not really what they're expecting to happen. And I quite like that. It's keeps it more interesting in my opinion. Which is just fun. So right now I don't see Rolling in the room yet. I'm not sure if he's gonna be here or not. But I am at least here, so at least there's one stream showing matches right now. Confusion all around. And on win side we see 2 IS4s, 2 113s, 2 bad chats, and a 268. And on Hapki's side, we see 3 IS-4s, an IS-7, 2 268s, and a Batchat. So that's definitely going to be interesting to watch with this kind of lineup on this kind of map. Because both teams have quite a bit of speed, and I have a feeling that we might be seeing a brawl in the desert there. Because with this kind of lineup, I would more expect them in the desert than in the city. And that's all to do with the Batchats and the 268s, to be honest. 268s are very versatile tanks. They can go literally anywhere and be either part of the heavy side or the med side. But overall, because of their mobility, they're more likely used as sort of meds with giant guns than support of heavies. But at the same time, when I see those IS-4s and the IS-7, and I see the... well, that's definitely more heavy armor, and those are tanks that would generally do better in the city. So yeah, we don't know. We're gonna see in little less than 3 minutes. But yeah, as always, I'm curious to see what they will do. And I like that with, when it comes to teams, that you can't read these teams like you would in random battles. Because in random battles, you see where the strength of your team lies, and you try to push your team towards that. So if you have a lot of meds, in this case, you would push towards the desert. If you have a lot of heavies, you would push towards holding the city. But when you have a team, and that team is all on voice together, and that team is playing coordinated, and they're playing tactical, and they're doing a certain thing, you can go city with 7 meds if you want to, or desert with 7 heavies, because you're coordinating, and you have that voice communication that helps so much with these kind of things. So it's definitely going to be quite cool always to see what they do, because I can read the teams and the maps as much as I want, but we only know what they're going to do in the beginning of the battle, and that has everything to do with it being a team tournament and not an basically a random battle. Because in random battles with this team up, I would definitely push city, I think, if I was on that IS-4, well, on Hapki's team. Unless I was the Batchat, then I would want everyone to come desert. And on the other side, I would want to push desert because there's so much more mobility there. And yeah, then it's always tricky to see if what happens and if they get to follow you basically in random battles. I will check the other echelon again. I did show that Nova won the middle one. I'm not sure about the lower one, but I'll check that after these matchup, because then we're gonna be waiting until we get to the grand finals of whoever wins this versus live. But yeah, in half a minute we're gonna be seeing these matches, and this is basically the finals of the lower bracket. I don't get why they call it finals. Just call them semi-finals, because after that you have the finals, and then they call that the grand finals. And it's just confusing, in my opinion. But yeah, we're all ready and rearing to go. We have 9 seconds left to go before we actually enter the battle. I did press ready. There's no map on the screen, so we're all ready to go and watch what happens. And here we go. Win again with no banners whatsoever. Happy with banners from all around. And let's see if we can find my Hafen somewhere. He's not here. He's over there somewhere. Poor burned out corpse. So let's see what happens. We've all loaded in. We're good to go.
Let's get this show on the road.
Up and away. And we see the Batchats pushing towards A. Possibly to spot. We see Hapki with the 268 pushing into the desert as well. Batchats both being spotted. but they're too fast. And oh, there was a massive shot into the Hapki Batchat. But the other Batchat has to be careful because there's two 268s there, and if he's pushing like that, he can very easily get shot, but the 268 don't take that shot, and that's very lucky for him. But they've capped that base, the 268 are turning around. Hapki has managed to take base B and they're now grabbing C, and that's a very cheeky move, to be honest, but a very good move, because with Win all in the desert, they can't grab base B back, and now Hapki will have the point advantage. And it cost them pretty much a Batchat, but the Batchat is still around. They have the point advantage, and now it's a matter of holding and patience. Because if they manage to hold this, you have the Batchat on the train tracks but not spotted yet, and the other guy is spotted and the 268 can't really do anything there. If Hapki plays this carefully and they just hold and they don't stand on the edge like that waiting to get shot from the other side, which now is happening to the IS-4 while he's pulling back now, Win is gathering on the train tracks on the other side, and they're likely going to be able to. They're likely going to be pushing over there. But Hapki is expecting it, and they're waiting for them to do that. So they're taking positions to support that. And we have the Win guys in the middle of the desert as well, and they're not going to be able to fully push. We have the IS-4 that is pulling back, and basically Hapki taking positions to keep an eye on everyone everywhere. We see some minor damage being taken to the Batchat there. And Hapki has a very comfortable position. They just need to be careful that IS-4 should not be there. That he should not peek out that far. He should use the buildings, because they're going to be pushing over there. Now he spotted 4 tanks and now he's pulling back. But now Win is making a push because they kind of have to. And that IS-4 is not going to be happy to be there, even though there's some shots being taken into Win as well. And it will be very difficult for that IS-4 to survive. And I think that he was poking out way too far there. That 113 is almost gone, 19 HP left. But I wonder if, yeah, he does die before the IS-4 does. But there goes the IS-4. And now Win is pushing into the city. We have the 268 that is taking massive shots here into the guys there. But the other 268 is now in trouble, especially with the Batchat behind him. And now we have the other 268 that is pushing against the IS-4. But Win is making a very coordinated push here, and that is very tricky for Hapki, because Hapki is now too spread out. It takes them too long to get together, and the IS-4 is going to be finishing off that 268 there. There he goes. And now they are trying to... They're killing the Batchat. They're going to be able to get away with that. But the 268 and the 113 are against the IS-4 here. And that is not looking well for the IS-4. Especially not when he shows his rear to the 268. That is not looking well. And especially when he misses that very vital shot. They're not going to be able to save him. And there goes the IS-4. And the fact that they're capping now the base doesn't really matter. Because they will have a hard time staying alive like this. And especially when they're ignoring, they need to kill that guy, but it's costing them way too much HP to do that. And now they're not getting any points from any base. They need to take out all 3 tanks in order for them to make this happen. The IS-4 is showing the other IS-4's flank, and there he goes. And this is definitely Win's game. Very coordinated push, very well done by them. And Hapki is just too spread out to support each other, and they're not being able to do it. Very nicely done. Look at the damage from Rambo from North. Wow, noise. So now we're gonna have the second match on Desert Sands. And Win seems to be pretty much readied up already with 3 IS-4s, 2 IS-7s, a 268 and a Batchat, and I think with that lineup they're definitely gonna hold the city. And on the other side we see Hapki with 3 IS-4s, 2 AMX-50Bs, a 268 and a Batchat. So with that lineup again, they're very likely to be going down, which could mean that they're gonna be meeting each other. It could also mean that we see a 268 and a Batchat in the desert, because they will want those bases. In this case, that put the pressure on Win so much, but they managed to grab it back when they pushed over the train tracks like that. Very nicely done. So in 45 seconds we're gonna enter the battle, and we're gonna see what happens, and we're gonna see what they do, and we're gonna see where they go, and we're gonna see who wins this game. And then we might have another one, and then we're gonna go on to the grand finals and everything. Absolutely loving this. And those autoloaders, they can work out so well and they can work out so bad, and this game is probably gonna show exactly how well or how bad they're gonna perform. So I can't wait. 15 seconds left to go. Everyone is readied up. I'm readied up. There's no map on the on the screen. And here we go. So now we're just waiting for everyone to load in. Let's see if we can spot my Haven somewhere. There it is. Aww. I'm taking way too much pressure in that. Not even watching my Haven bird, but being able to spot it every single battle. Okay, everyone's loading quite quickly this time.
Let's go.
So let's go. We have the Batchat that is pushing towards the middle. I think it's just mainly there to spot. We have the other Batchat doing the exact same thing. We have the AMX 50Bs going into the desert. We see Batchat sees Batchat. And we have Killer from North being cheeky there and trying to spot everyone. We have Win taking a very cheeky B cap here. But I'm not sure if they're going to be able to get away with that. Because Hapki is in the middle. They are taking shots. But they might just get it. There we go. They have the base. And they also have C. And Hapki is now at a distinct disadvantage. Because we have Batchat versus Batchat in the desert. But basically not much going on there. And we have Win pushing through the city. Shooting at the campers. IS-4 is taking damage. Batchat has taken a tiny bit of damage so far. But basically they're running around there. One IS-4 from Win is down a lot of HP. And he's... Oof, there's a lot of damage going on, and this is very costly for both teams. They need to be careful. They need to be a bit more defensive there, especially when they have the point advantage. They need to make let Hapki make the mistake. And we have Win pushing into the side. When all of them have been caged basically. The only one that is out in the desert now is the Batchat, and if he shoots them, they can get away from that. Yeah. Those AMXs are now a distinct disadvantage. Look at the damage that was done to that poor AMX there. And Win has a lot of near one shots. But we have the 268 that is going to focus on... Now both teams have lost a gun. Win just lost a second gun. But that's a big shot into the 268. And basically we're seeing 268 versus 268 now. And I wonder if he's going to be able to bounce that. No, he's not. But the 268 takes a massive shot there, and there goes the 268, and now it's 4 versus 4, and it can go either way. But now it's 4 versus 3, and that's a bit more tricky. Especially since the IS-7 was very low on health. But they do have... Ooh, that was a big shot to take, and... Oof. And this is looking very tricky, especially when the 268 does manage to make an awesome HP shot there. But they have very little health left. And there goes the 268, and now it's just the IS-7. And this is Hapki games. It looked very different in the beginning. But I think that the fact that they pushed so aggressively, even though they had the point advantage, is what cost Win the game here. And now it's just one lone IS-7 versus a Batchat and 2 IS-4s. And especially, he has a shot ready. And he's going to be taking it, but it's not going to be enough. And troll armor or no, he can't survive this. He can survive it in maybe one shot, but that's about it. There he goes. And the game is Hapki's. Awesome game. Again. And I think again with the aggressive push in this case, they weren't looking to take the advantage. They should have held. because they had the opportunity to do that without any risk. And we see that rolling is streaming the other side. That's good. And now they're pretty much looking for what to drive, I think. I'm gonna pull up the map quite quickly. This is Oasis Bombs. This is where we're gonna be next. Met base C, heavy base A, and heavy base B. All very open matches, very easy to get crossfire in. B is a bit tricky, because from the city onwards you can get shot very easily. From C it's a little bit harder, whereas from A it's very easy to push into B. So let's take the map away again. And let's look. We see Hapki completely readied up with 3 IS-4s, 2 268, a Patton and an E3. And on Wind's side they're still readying up, but they have a little bit of time left to do that. But we see 2 IS-4s, a Batchat, a 268, a 113 in E3 and another IS-4. So those are pretty similar lineups, only Hapki is choosing the Patton rather than the Batchat. So this is pressure on both sides. Whoever wins this is through to the next final and gets to battle live. Six, 7 left to go. Can't wait. 3, 2, 1. Here we go. So now we're just waiting for everyone to load in. There's my Hafen. And the pressure is definitely on. I really want to see what happens now. Who's gonna take this home? Who's gonna go against life? Who's gonna beat the other team here? So we have Win focusing on a little bit of C and mainly A and B looks like. And we see that Hapki seems to be doing the same thing. We have Batchat spotting Patton. Batchat running away immediately, which is a good thing, but it does cost him quite a bit of health there. Nice shot by the 268, whichever one of them it was. And he's now pretty much stuck until he's unspotted, which is now. But he needs to be careful there. They know that there's campers there, but they don't manage to hit them just yet. No one is taking base B because, well, it's too open. And no one is taking base A because it's well covered from both sides. So this is going to be a very tricky and cheeky game, I believe. Because it could go stalemate quite quickly. The Patton is now on his own there. The Batchat is still overlooking it. And he's heading into the city now, or not. And basically this can go either way, because right now both bases are holding. And the only one that's lost any HP, that was a splash damage to the 268 all the way to the back there. But overall, not a lot of damage being done. Oof, that was a big shot into the IS-4 for peeking out cheekily there. And that means Live has, now Hapki has a slight advantage in HP, but not much else. And right now we're just waiting to see if anyone does anything, because no one is really doing anything. We have the Patton that has a bit of damage. We have the Batchat that is taking care to spot anyone that's going for base C. But you can't really do much there. We have the IS-4 and the IS-4 holding in the middle, without the ability to do much. We see blind shots going here and there, but not doing any damage. And we'll see what happens in, well, at least 4 minutes and 45 seconds, because that's how long the match can last at the longest. E3 has not been spotted yet, but if he pokes over that edge there, he could get hit quite nicely by the 268 all the way to the back there. And there's a lot of firepower everywhere. And they don't really have the opportunity to do anything. Their shots being taken into where Rambo is, but he's not taking any damage. We have the pattern that's being spotted again by the Batchat, but the Batchat has not been spotted in return. And I think that both these teams are just... they're holding. That's what happens, that's what they're doing. And HP wise it's about 500 difference, so that's not really much. But the Batchats did have... did take quite a bit of damage in the beginning. So they're a bit of a disadvantage when it comes to HP per tank. And the Batch is just keeping driving circles. And now it seems that Win is... or not, he's circling back again. Sometimes it looked like something is about to happen, but it doesn't quite happen. We have the 113 that is holding at the back there. Basically more tanks from Win are spotted, but it's only barely minimum. And they can't really do anything on either side. We have the Batchat racing around here, trying to see where the pattern is. Blind shots being taken. No spots being made. And the Batchat completes another circle there. Now Patton and Batchat have both been... Ooh, that's a very, very lucky Batchat. Driving into the rock and not getting shot for it. And at some point a base will need to be kept. An advantage will have to be taken because we have less than 3 minutes left to go. And no point advantage to either side. Very slight HP advantage. And we have the Batchat now pulling back into the town. But still overlooking base C a little bit. And I think his Win is going to be making a push here. Potentially. They seem to be running up the team to make a push. E3 has been spotted there. No damage being done. We have the 113 that is holding back the pattern now. And the Batchat that is driving around. But with 2 minutes left to go, not much is happening. And not much has happened so far. And considering this is the final game, I do believe to remember that if there's similar points, then HP counts. So you can't let this go into a draw and hope for another match. We see the IS-4 now taking a shot from the 268, no, not even the 268, from the E3. But he's taking up a different position now. And the pattern is being pushed by the 268, the 113 and the Batchat. And I think that if that 113 is careful enough, then they're going to be taking out that pattern. We have Hapke now making a push on the other side, and that's a very clever move. They need to take out that pattern. There he goes. They need to take C, and Hapke is now making a push, and they need to be careful there with Win. Win needs to hold. They need to hold well. If they want this to work, they have the point advantage with 1 minute left to go. They're grabbing a base, so they're keeping a point advantage that way, as long as no one dies. We have the 268 that is pulling back in. We have the Batchat that is pushing. And they will need to be careful. They will need to somehow survive this. We see massive damage being done here. And we have a massive push on the IS-4 and the E3 and the other IS-4 there. But this is costing Hapke a lot of HP. And there goes the IS-4 from Win. And they will need to focus fire really well if they want this to work. The IS-4 is going to be gone very soon. But at what cost? Who's else? There goes the IS-4 and the E3. And now Hapke has lost 4 guns. So it's 5 versus 3. And this is looking to be Win's game. They have the points from. There's 12 seconds left. Yeah, there's no way Win is going to lose this. This is Win's game. Very well played. They're ignoring the tank shooting them from behind. They're focusing on the 268, trying to get him out of the equation. And they're surviving. Time is up. And Win has the game. Well done, well played, well held. So now we're gonna be seeing Win versus Live in the grand finals. And we're gonna be seeing Dynasty Spurl and Canyon. So I'm gonna be taking you over those maps again in a little bit. But I did promise that I would show what happened here. We have the middle echelon where Nova won, us came second, 3F came third, Czech came fourth, APA and BHBP came basically fifth and sixth, and 03 and Teal 7 and 8th. And on the other side we have the lower echelon championship where Argo won, IQ came second, 303 came third, Cops came fourth, Clan Turk came fifth, and together with War TR, fifth and sixth. And we have IP and LED as 7th and 8th. Well, combined places, but you know what I mean. So that's the standings for those tournaments. And let's see how much time we have left. 4 minutes about before the map is up. Which maps did I say again? I think it was Dynasty Sprawl and Canyon. No, this is the wrong one. This is the one that I want. Let's see. Just checking. Would help if it loads, because that generally helps with checking scores and maps and everything. Dynasty Sprawl and Canyon. So I'm gonna pull up Dynasty Sprawl first, which is this little map. And this is one of those maps that I both love and hate it. I love the area around C. There's, well, and partly around A. There's a lot of places where you can peek-a-boom, peek over edges and stairways and all of that, and get shots into faraway places. That's one of the things that I really love. But at the same time, the map is so small. And that really works against it, because if you're in a Kolobanov situation and you're in the med, then you're very unlikely to make it out alive. And that's everything to do with the fact that you can't really run around, get a good position, and then cheekily get shots in. You have very little advantage as a med in this map, or as a light. At least in the random battles. And that's something that I dislike. But at the same time, it's... the positions around C are quite nice. The fact that you can decap bases from the other bases is quite fun, in my opinion. But it will be very, well, again, interesting to see what they do. Because in team battles, what you drive is a lot less important because you're part of a team. So as an individual tank, you're not expected to carry as much as you would in random battles. So yeah, we're gonna be seeing what's gonna happen soon in the grand finals of the top echelon team. And the winner of this will be able to go against the number 2 of the EU server that we're going to be finding out next week, Saturday, on the Twister Cup streams. And then we are going to be seeing, well, we're going to be seeing what happens, of course. And after that, the winner of that matchup is going to go against the same kind of winner from the RU server. And the winner of that match is going to win a wildcard to the offline event in Minsk. Even though we don't know when it is yet, or we do know where it is in Minsk, but yeah, we don't know when it is yet. But hopefully that will be announced soon. So the teams are going to be meeting up in Dynasty Sprawl twice before we see the final match potentially on Canyon. We've seen Canyon before tonight, and we have, well, I've talked about this map a lot, so I'm not sure what else to say. But it's going to be cool. I hope that we get 3 matches, because that's just more fun. But we'll see. I'm gonna take the map away so that we don't miss anything. Let's see how much time we have left. In about 2 minutes the room will be up, so I'm gonna take this time to grab a bit of a drink. Because even though we all know that women like talking and they like being able to talk a lot, at some point our throat goes dry. And then we need something to drink. So far these matches have been nice and surprising and refreshing and just completely different. Quite liked it. And I can't wait to see what we see in the grand finals here. It will be a very nice prelude to next weekend, I believe. So now we're just admiring my Pretty little hafen when it's not a burned out corpse. I like the helmets that are there on the side, like that, the 3 little ones. I like the little saber-toothed tiger. It will be done. And all of that. It's a fun little tank. But yeah, not much else for me to say at this point. We've seen them play in about half a minute. The room should be up. And then we're going to be seeing what they're going to be taking and everything. I think I'm going to grab the map a little bit again. Just so we can study it a bit more. At around base C, it's a very open map with a lot of line of fire into it. But you can decap B from it. And B is a very open base as well. You only have to luck if you don't get it decapped there, because mostly there's people around or behind base C that will manage to decap you from there. A is completely different story. It's also very open. And there's the room. It's completely open as well, but because most people focus on base C and base B, you might get away with cheekily capping it. At the same time, if you're starting at A, it's a lot harder to grab B and C from there. B is, unless you get lucky and unless you have somehow managed to like hide behind the mouse or something, you're very unlikely to cap that base. C is easier because you have the fountain for cover. And there are some positions that might work out for you, but it's none of these bases are pretty well protected and easy to cap that way. And like I said, we've seen a lot of times that right now in this top echelon team, a lot of teams don't focus on the supremacy part of it at all. And again, after this, we might get Canyon. Canyon with the base in the middle, that is very hard to cap, but very hard to steal when you have capped it. A, that is between the buildings. C, that is in the corner with a line of fire into the spawn of the other side. You can get caught at C, but it's also very nice at C because you can get crossfire into base B, into that the enemy spawn, and potentially push on to spot their campers and everything. So with 3.5 minutes left to go, life is all there. Win is not there at all yet. Right now I'm the only one that is queued there. I'm gonna show you. I'm not gonna be playing, so I hope the team is there. There we go. And we see that life is completely readied up with a mouse, 3 113s, a 268, an E100 and an IS-7. The name of the IS-7 is a bit special. But I do get the sentiment. And we have less than 3 minutes to go before we see the grand finals of this stage. But again, it's only best of 3, so it's very dependent on who manages to win that first battle to either put the pressure on the other team or relieve the pressure on yourself, basically. And now Win is streaming in. And I have a feeling that they're not going to be driving a TOG, though that would be very awesome to drive a TOG at this stage. And they're readying up, changing tanks a little bit. They have 2 minutes left to do that, so that's plenty of time. We see 2 IS-4s, a 215B, a Batchat, an E3, a mouse, and a potential IS-7 if he readies up. Which we don't know if he will do yet. And that's quite a bit of armor to take along. And I understand that though. And right now on the other side we have 3 113s. And those tanks will do well on a small map like this. We have a completely different lineup. We have a mouse, 3 113s, a 268, an E100 and IS-7. So that's quite a bit of armor, but with relative mobility, because the 113s are relative mobile. And that makes them very versatile. And now we have a Win's definite lineup, it seems, with a mouse, an E3, a Batchat, a 215B and 3 IS-4s. So hopefully that will give us some really exciting matches on this small map, but with the armor and the rate of fire of the 113s and all of that. Should be good fun. Troll armor of the IS-4. We have 50 seconds left to go before we enter the first match of the grand finals. And I can't wait. This is what we've been working up for since, well, they've been working up to it a lot longer. But I've been following this since Friday evening. And it's gonna be, it has to be epic, to be honest. Otherwise it wouldn't be a grand final. And these teams have worked so hard to get here. And there's been so many matches for them to get to this spot. That yeah, I definitely... This is where it all comes together. This is where it all matters. Everything matters, but this matters the most. And 8 seconds, and we're good to go. And we're gonna go into the game. There's no map on the screen, so that's good. And here we go. I do like this map a lot, but it's so small. I would love this map to be bigger. So let's see what happens. We're waiting for everyone to load in. There's my burned out corpse. Everyone is loaded in. And here we go.
Time to roll out.
Beginning of the grand finals. And we see the Batchat going towards base C. And we have... Looks like most of the wind following in the same direction. Whereas Hapke is pushing towards... This is a very clever move. Use the Batchat not to grab C, but to grab B. And I don't know if he's gonna get away with it. Because he's spotted now. And he's gonna get shot. But he almost did. And the IS-4 is going into base C. And the Batchat kind of has to get out of there now. And that was IS-4 standing way out in the open there. So we see some shots bouncing off the 215B there. And we have both teams that now have a base. But Live has a point advantage, so that will put the pressure on Win. And Live is making an aggressive push here. They're pushing these guys, but they're gonna be paying for it dearly. By the looks of it, because against the mouse and 2 IS-4s that are focus firing, and the Batchat from behind, there goes the 113, and now there's 2 other 113s left, and Live is pushing on all directions, and they need to push on through if they want to do this. We see a massive shot going into the IS-7 there, and he dies, and now Live has already lost 3 guns, and the IS-4 is almost dead. I'm not sure he's going to survive this shot. He's not. But Live is losing a lot of guns there, and this is will be very hard for them to earn this back. We have the E3 that is focusing, we have his rear towards the mouse. But there goes the 268. And now it's just an E100 and a mouse. Versus 5 tanks. This is not looking good for Live at all. We see the mouse now being focused, even though the E100 is a juicier target, but the mouse is closer by and an easier target to pick on right now. There goes the mouse, and now we only have the E100 left. And that's not gonna last long. This game is definitely wins. Very aggressive push, and I think that the fact that not all players were there by Live is what cost him the game in the end, because now the E100 is just being slaughtered. And he does get some nice damage in more, but he's not gonna survive for long. And there he goes. And the first game goes to Win. And look at the damage that the E3 did there. That shot on the IS-7 was awesome. So that's the first game gone to Win. And now we have 1.5 minutes left to go before we see where the next one is going. Yes, Valentin. Last time I checked, I was still a woman. So we have 1 minute and 8 seconds left to go. Both teams have readied up. And we see that Win has sporting 3 IS4s, an IS7, a mouse, an E4 and a Foch. So that's a completely different lineup from the last game. And on the other side we see a mouse, an E5, two 113s, an E3, an E100 and a Batchat. So that's similar lineup to last time, but a little bit different. One less 113 and then one E5, that is new. So here we go. In 35 seconds we're gonna be seeing the second match of the grand finals. And if it's not gonna be as exciting as the last game, that's gonna be epic. Because that really could have gone either way. In the beginning I thought that Win would lose that because of the Batchat staying in base B there. I'm watching this on a press account. This is not my main account, it's not my own account, it's Wargaming's account. So that's why I have that many gold and credits and free XP and everything. So yeah, 2, 1, here we go! Let's see what happens this time. To be honest, I would be utterly ashamed if I had that much gold on my main account. That would be sick. Imagine how much money I would have spent on this game. Oof. Now we're just waiting to load in. We already see the Haven Corps, so I don't even need to look around for that. But with this completely different lineup for Win, I'm very curious to see what we will end up with. And we're waiting for people to load in so that we can start the battle and see what goes on. And here we go. Everyone is here. Everyone is ready to go. And I wonder if they're as excited and as... well, basically, well, nervous is not the right word, but as excited as I am. We see Win making an aggressive push towards base A with a little bit towards C. And we have Live making an aggressive push towards B, doing the same trick that the Batchat did in the last game. Very well done, very cheeky. But we have the IS-7 that is pushing in there, and I wonder if he's gonna be able to decap it in time. I think the IS-4 is gonna have to do that. There he goes. It is costing him, but they kind of had no choice because they can't afford them to get that base. And now the IS-4 is bouncing a nice shot there from the back. That could have been a lot of damage. And we have Win now capping base A, whereas Live is not capping anything. And this can really go either way. We have the IS-7 that is overlooking. Oh, that was a big shot into the IS-4 there. But it's costing them to do that. And we have Win that is focusing on... Ooh, we have a lovely little Foch at the back that is overlooking anything that goes into base C. And I wonder if we're going to see some shots into the 113 there. I think we are. Oh, but that didn't pan, and now the IS-7 is definitely in trouble. We have Live that is capping base B. We have the IS-7 that is getting focus fired. And we have the Foch that has been spotted, and he's going to be the next target because he's on his own and he does do a lot of damage. But it's going to be very hard for the IS-7 to even survive this. And now people are turning back to help him, and that can be even worse because that makes them the next target. We have the Foch that is getting a nice shot in again. But the E4 is losing a lot of HP against the mouse and the E100. And we see that this is not going to be going well, especially when the Batchat is peeking there. And they want to get the Foch out of the way, but basically the Batchat only has to troll him. And we see massive shots being taken, but no guns being taken out. And there goes the first gun from Live. And HP-wise, it's very alike, but the Batchat is now reloaded. And he's waiting to get that Foch. And if he gets behind the Foch is doomed. The Foch is definitely doomed. Live has lost another gun. And now they have to focus fire. They have to take out that 113 in time. And that's the first target. And the 113 is actually being blocked by his own the own E100. And the Foch is just ignoring the Batchat and has gone straight onwards. And now it's 6 versus 3. Okay, 6 versus 5. But it can still go either way. But overall, Win has the advantage here. and they need to take out that E100. The mouse is way to the back, he can't really do anything. And the Batchat is the biggest threat over there, but he's hiding because he can't really do anything. And he wants to take out that IS-4. The IS-4 is now turning back towards him. And the Batchat misses the first shot, and the IS-4 is going to die for it. But they have the luxury to let him die. Especially now that the E100 has been taken out. And the Batchat is now reloading. The other IS-4 is pushing in, and together they can outclip, they can outshoot this Batchat before he reloads. And it's a matter of the Batchat running away now, with the mouse that just killed off the IS-4. But overall, this definitely seems to be Win's game. The mouse is now versus a mouse, and it's gonna be very hard for the mouse to survive that. Whichever mouse, because the other mouse has the HP to take his time, push in, make sure that shot connects. But he bounces, and the mouse might take a little bit of damage there. But the other mouse didn't do damage either. So now we have mouse versus mouse. We have the Batchat that just died. So now this is definitely going to be Win's game. And that means that Win wins the finals, I believe. There we go. Very nicely done by Win. Lovely game. And look at the difference. It's minor. It's so minor. That really could have gone either way. Well done to Win. Win won the top echelon. It's not even showing yet. It's not here, but it's not here either. Okay. It's not here either. But yeah, Win won. Very well done. Lovely gameplay. So we're going to be seeing Win again versus the number 2 of the EU server. So that's going to be wicked. Now, next weekend we have the Twister Cup finals. And I'm going to take you to that chart as well. We have a raid that went straight through to the finals. And then we have Legion Big Game that is in the finals for the lower bracket. That is going to be facing off against R2K. And that's going to be awesome. These are going to be very tricky and difficult matches. And yeah, basically the number 1, the team that wins this is through to the offline event in Minsk. And after that, we still have the number 2 of the EU server that is going to battle against Win, that we now know. That is then going up against the same kind of winner from the RU server and can still go to the offline event. So this is going to be epic. And I don't know where the top echelon tournament went. It's gone. It's completely gone. But that was amazing. That was lovely gameplay. What a way to get it together. So with that in mind, my stream is done for the night. I hope you guys all enjoyed it. I hope you guys all enjoyed the Twister coins and support the team that you want to win. And I'll be seeing you guys next week, hopefully. Good night.